All right, well, it's about 7 after, so let's go ahead and get started. Just want to welcome everyone who is joining us today for our monthly community input meeting. Special thanks to anyone who's joined us for the first time. We'll start right into the introductions. My name is Ayobami Torrence. I'm the Marketing Outreach Coordinator for DDOT. And usually we would start with the executive director, but I don't think he's on the line yet. So I can call who I see, no particular order, and you guys just say your name and let people know who you are. Go ahead with Larry.
Good afternoon, everyone. Larry Smith, Assistant Director of Operations.
Elias.
Elias Fisher, Grants Administrator.
Larry L, without me saying your name.
Larry Luckett, Assistant Director for Maintenance.
Okay. T. Brown.
Good afternoon, Chief Riki Brown, Transit Police. I hope everyone is safe.
Riki.
Riki Yamakura, I'm the Manager of Data Reporting.
Don. You're muted. There you go.
Hi, I'm Don Lozen. I'm the Regulatory Compliance Officer for ADA.
Kristen.
I'm Kristen Lukowski, and I'm also on the marketing team.
Brian.
Brian Fisher, Compliance Department, Title VI.
Mickey.
Everyone, Mickey Taylor Hendricks. I'm with Scheduling and Service Development.
Okay, and then let me make sure there's no one that has come in. I think we're okay. So that looks like everyone. If I missed anyone, please let me know.
We have Mr. Reid online.
Oh, Josh, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I had a little bit of trouble logging in. I'm Josh Reid. I'm the Executive Manager to Administration.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, we are going to go straight into our updates then. Again, we'll move past our Executive Director if he is able to join us later. I know that he'll be able to chime in. Let's start with operations for now.
Sure, not a problem. Good afternoon again, everyone. Updates for operations as it relates to service. Yet another month has gone by, which provided us another month of being able to pull different data, utilize different options, as well as taking the feedback from our riders, from all parties involved. So we also encourage you to continue to send in your feedback, continue to send in your comments, call customer service, the DDOT line as well. So that kind of gives us a better picture of what you guys are seeing out there and gives us the opportunity to be transparent in the things that we are trying to implement throughout this process. By no means is this a finished product. As we all know, this thing constantly is changing from new protocols being put in place, spikes and different things of that nature within COVID. So it behooves us to constantly make sure we are fluid in the practices that we are putting in place. So at this time, as of Monday, we tried to implement a new process, which was related to our service. So what we were able to do was on those high impact lines that we constantly refer to, that we also receive the highest amount of feedback from, and which also reflects to our highest amount of ridership. Just to name a few, which would be your Grand River, Woodward, 7 Mile, 8 Mile, Greenfield, Warren, Dexter as well in there. Those routes, we have placed those back on a Monday through Friday schedule. So for all of those that are on this call, you can go to the DDOT website, as well as the hand schedules are provided at the transit center as well. And you can utilize the Monday through Friday schedule for those indicated lines, and every other line is still on a Saturday schedule. That does not mean we have removed ourselves from making real-time service adjustments as needed. But what this does is, instead of you all trying to plug and play and utilize the apps and different things to try to figure out the real-time adjustments that we are making, we have taken the proper process in place to make sure that what we say we're running is what we're actually running, okay? So that kind of offers you guys another level of consistency there. Again, after this week, we'll continue to review it, see the way it looks, and if this thing is working out better. As we get drivers back, we will be able to continue to beef those lines up. But as it stands, those indicated lines, again, that I'll name off: Grand River, Woodward, 7 Mile, Greenfield, Warren, Dexter, 8 Mile, are on a Monday through Friday schedule. All of the lines as of right now are listed as a Saturday schedule. Thank you.
Thank you for those updates. And I did have scheduling service and development next. I don't think we have anyone on the line, but I believe that kind of is part of that update as well. So I think it's safe for us to go ahead and move to data and reporting.
I believe we have Mickey.
Yeah, I can give a quick update.
You have one?
but,
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically echoing what Larry just said.
Okay.
So I'm gonna actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna write the names of the routes in the chat to make sure we cover all the routes that are, we've increased the frequency to match the Monday through Friday headway, which is, the frequent service at our peak hours. So I'll just drop that in, but basically echoing everything Larry just said, we're just being really flexible to make sure we can make the adjustments that we need to make sure service is out there as best as possible. So working very closely with operations to make those changes. And I will put all the routes in the chat and we'll go from there if that's okay.
Okay, yep, thank you for doing that. And then again, you'll see more on our website and social media to come with those routes as well.
Yes, for the schedules.
Thank you. Moving now to data and reporting.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Riki Yamakura. I'm with Data and Reporting. And a lot of things that I do center around the tech upgrade. We do thank everybody's patience for the tech upgrade. I mean, we did face some unprecedented times when it comes to getting the tech upgrade off the ground, but it is nearing completion. We are continuing to roll out features as they become available. We weren't waiting for a grand opening, but we've been working with our vendors who've been facing travel and work restrictions of their own in order to get this completed. Some of the things you might be seeing at the transit center, there are things like signage capabilities have improved. The enunciation volume we're still working on, but we've heard that as feedback. We are working on that, but hopefully you're seeing better enunciation across the board on the vehicles. To give kind of a side note also what Mr. Smith was saying, transit app functionality, we've been monitoring that on a daily basis and prediction capabilities look pretty steady. We're also hoping to see in the next week possibly a performance improvement because we are allocating more resources, making sure that the prediction is even better than what it was before. And that kudos to all the departments. I know that there are challenging times out there, out on the routes, but just to assure everyone that operations, customer service, maintenance, scheduling, all departments really are asking for a lot of data, really using that data to make some good decisions out there. And hopefully we're seeing that in the service level. So thank you again.
Thank you for those updates. Chief Brown, you're up next.
Good afternoon. Thank you again, Ms. Torrence. I only have a few things. As always, I'd like to stress that we are strongly requesting all passengers to wear masks when boarding the coaches. If you don't have one, they are available on the coach. Please take just one for the safety of all concerned. I know we have a lot of attendees who will have public comments at the end. And I just want to stress that you, along with everyone you know that uses public transportation, please be respectful of others and wear a mask. Also, if you have any complaints about transit, please use the customer service number at 313-933-1300, not transit police. Customer service can address your problem immediately during business hours. They input it into a system. Third, I'd like to say that we now have a process in place where people in my position and my level, which is directly under the executive director, we now work together as a team with all the directors of the various departments to address issues immediately and find solutions for them. For example, I'm sure when the attendees start talking, they're going to start talking about being passed up on coaches and overflows and things like that. Just so you know, I'm gonna let DDOT operations handle this, but they are trying and bending over backwards and diligently trying to respond to that issue to make it more comfortable and safer for all the riders. We're not perfect, but they're trying. So please, please pass it along. Frustration has to kind of diminish. Stop throwing rocks, stop breaking windows, stop getting mad, stop calling folks, fussing and cussing, because they are trying their very best. Now, that is not to say if you have a legitimate complaint to please call in the complaint number. If you have a complaint regarding criminal activity or transit police, please call the transit police public number. Don't ask me again because I forgot it already. So that's all I want to say, and I'll stand by for public comments. I want to thank the whole group for really stepping up during this extremely difficult time and working together and trying to make it a better system for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Brown. Let's move to compliance.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Fisher, Regulatory Compliance Officer for Title VI. First thing I want to say is that DDOT stands with this Title VI discrimination policy that no person on the basis of race, color, and national origin should be denied benefits of, excluded from participation in, or discriminated against from any program or activity that receives federal financial assistance. That would be DDOT, and we want to make sure that if you do feel that you have been discriminated against, you have some opportunities to call that in. You can call to the customer service number at 313-933-1300, or you can also email the complaint to d.title6@detroitmi.gov. The complaint form is also on our website, both at ridedetroittransit.com, but also at detroitmi.gov/DDOT to fill out that complaint form. Speaking of that, my second thing is our public participation plan will be the draft will be going out soon. If you would like a copy of that by email, please email the d.title6@detroitmi.gov, requesting that you would like that draft. And once we have everything together, we will go ahead and forward that out to you. Yes, I will paste that into the comment section as soon as I'm done. But once again, I want to make sure that no one is feeling discriminated against. And also with the public participation plan, if you would like that draft, we're going to place the email in the chat, and you can contact us at any time. Once again, Brian Fisher, Compliance Department. Go forth with DDOT.
All right, thank you for that. And again, he is going to add that information to the chat. And I believe if you would like for your email to be added, then you can add that to the chat as well. We do have the customer service available in there. The transit police number is in there as well. And then the routes that we mentioned as far as the Monday through Friday, that's all in the chat if you're able to check out on some other things.
Ms. Torrence.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just had to interrupt real quick. I can't let this go by without me saying. Our number, transit police number, is 313-833-9836. 833-9836. Customer service is 933-1300. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we had you covered because that's in the chat. So, but thank you. So for anyone who missed it, it's available there, but we do appreciate that. So I kind of skipped over the rules now, but I'll go to them now as our community comment time. So we just ask that you please be mindful of the time. We'll give everyone 2 minutes. If we have extra time, we'll always go back around to you. We just ask for no personal attacks or foul language. Just raise your hand, and once I'll acknowledge you, just keep your hands up and we'll just go that way. If you are on the phone, dial *9, just press *9, and that's the way you can raise your hand that way, and we'll unmute you. So we will go ahead and get started. Let's see who we have. Okay, I'm just going to go right off the top. So I have Renard, so one moment. We should be, let's see, let's try. There we go. So you're up and you go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. All right. Hello, can you all hear me?
We can.
Okay, I've been having audio issues all week, so I got to ask this question. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank each of the DDOT staff and drivers for their sacrifice each day that they make out, going out to, moving us around the city. I actually started riding back the buses again, and it feels great to actually be back on there. And I do notice that there are individuals at the Rosa Parks Transit Center that are cleaning the buses each time they go down there. And I'm hearing this is the same procedure in other cities. So I want to thank DDOT for staying on top of the sanitation on that end. I encourage bus riders to also take that 4-digit number, route, and direction if it is something not looking right. But I got a question about these masks, right? Out of due respect, Chief, everybody is not stealing all these masks and taking them off the bus. Y'all are not replenishing them. I was on the 2, I took pictures on the 19, I was on the 7. All of the zip ties are missing and it just has the sign on there. So something else is going on. And can the department answer to that as well too? Because that's dangerous. And I am not going to sit here and believe that on every single route, somebody took a whole box, because you have no proof of that. And if you did, it wouldn't be just a simple accusation and something that, is on a script, but you would have actual evidence of that, right? Because there's footage and other things of that sort. So the other thing is, can the department explain what is your procurement process for these masks and what is your plan to actually put these on the bus? Because on the press release, it said 10,000 masks. And then after that, the supply would diminish. And then the director says they're being replenished, but people are not seeing these on the buses. I'm not seeing them. One of my friends ride the Michigan number 2 and there's no masks on there. These are heavily traveled routes. So what's going on? Other than that, good job on the cleaning and everything like that, but I'm actually take exception to the accusations that the DDOT staff is making about. Now, there are some people that do some stuff like that, but you're not also replenishing the masks. So what are you going to do about that? Thank you.
Okay. Operation, you want me to start off or you want to start off?
I'll start
Have at it,
off.
Chief.
Okay, first and
I'll start
foremost.
I don't appreciate that accusation, just for the record. So just make sure that's recorded.
Okay, FYI, that is not an accusation. That is a factual statement that people are taking more than they need. And that's simply a reminder to the public. We've never said anything to offend the public and accusing the public. We're just advising the public, please only take what you need. Second, on the busy routes, as you know, if they're busy, then people are coming and going constantly. So the mass may be deplenished during that particular route. Now, I can't speak for operations, but I just say that I'm sure that they're doing all they can at the end of each route to refill those mass boxes.
Did you want to add?
Larry, you want me to chime in a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. I can speak to the quantity that's being placed on the buses by week. And I want to say it's quite a bit. Now, whether they're being taken or people getting 2 or 3 or what have you, but we're putting on an average of about 70,000 masks a week. That's throughout our system.
I don't see that. I don't see the boxes that even hold the mask on there. Are you I don't see the mask being replenished. There's not even a box on there. Okay. If someone was taking 2 to 3 on a bus, the box would still kind of be there. So are they being replenished? I'm not going to sit here and call you a liar, but where are the masks? I don't see them on the buses. That's dangerous.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I'll go out personally and check the buses myself. I do know my staff is replenishing them. We cutting boxes and filling boxes every day. So they're growing somewhere. So I need to figure out where they're going. So I'll get into that.
Okay, I'd like to add that maybe we could get a little public support and help us out. If you notice a coach or a bus that is without masks, please make note of that and call someone immediately and let us know. If necessary, our road supervisors can follow that bus or find that bus and replenish it. So if we all work together, that may help it a little better. Instead of just expecting one side to do everything, let's work together as a team and fix this problem.
Thank you, Chief. That was going to be my sentiments once you guys finish, is that if you do notice it, please call the customer service line or contact us, because what I do have is I have my road supervisors that are out there, and what we can do is we can make note of that. That way, once that bus completes its trip and pulls back into the terminal, we can show attention to that bus. But as we all know, the old saying is, you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? And so if you are able to alert us of those instances in which you see that that service is not being provided, as well as any other complaints that you would have, feel free to pull it into us. You know, let us know. That way we can rectify the situation as soon as possible.
Thank you. Is that done through the normal customer service line, like the 933-1300 line?
Yes, please call that line. I mean, any of those complaints that are urgent like that, Larry and I are in constant communication.
All right, thank you for bringing that to attention. I think we got quite a few solutions. So again, for anyone, just please make sure you call that customer service line for any incidents that come. I'm gonna go ahead and move to our next person. I have Ruth, so give me one moment.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want to talk about three things. First of all, I'm going to encourage everybody on Zoom calls to identify themselves in their little screen name by their position or that they're with the city of Detroit. I've been sort of not as involved with my transit advocacy as I used to, so I don't recognize everybody. But I would also ask, is there some place where there's an org chart or where there's contact information for individuals? Because Brian's helping me because I don't know how to pull things off of the chat. I'm just gonna be honest. Sorry, Mickey. I'm medium tech, not high tech. So I would encourage also when you speak to identify yourself, because I don't know, on my phone, I only see maybe 4 or 5 tiles, the Brady Bunch tiles. So I don't know, I hear a voice and I have no clue. I'm sorry, I don't recognize your voices and I don't always recognize everyone's name. So I think just doing more to identify yourselves, it may seem silly, but I think it would be helpful. Second thing I'm very concerned about and mourning the impact COVID-19 has had on current and retired DDOT employees. And I had mentioned to the director having some type of memorial plaque, flower, tree at Rosa Parks. And I would just be interested in knowing what the status of that. It's not a fully formed concept or proposal, but just something to, even if we don't do everybody by name, I hope we don't. And I know the city of Detroit is doing a larger memorial, but I think somehow to lift up some of the folks that I know who have passed. And third, and not certainly least, I'm concerned about some of the developments, and I am the public policy director for Community Development Advocates of Detroit. So we're working with partners with the State Fair grounds, as well as the Ford Central Station, how that's gonna affect traffic and safety for pedestrians and other users of both the roadway and the sidewalks, and whether folks are consulting DDOT employees, DDOT riders, and others as they're developing those plans.
Okay, is there anyone, I know the executive director is not here to speak on what you mentioned about the memorial. Did anyone have anything to add?
So I can add a little bit into the memorial piece. DDOT actually is participating within the memorial that will be taking place that is citywide. But the plans that you have discussed, that were discussed at a previous meeting by the executive director for a specific memorial memorializing DDOT employees and DDOT staff that have been affected by this virus. That plan is not out of the scope. There are some other nuances that need to go into place to make sure that we do this to the best of our ability and that it is fully planned out, fully thought out, and not something that's just, thrown together. We want to make sure that we put our best effort forward whenever there is something that is memorializing anyone that has lost their life or anything of that nature. So that's not something that's out of the realm of possibility, but it is still on the table, just so you are aware.
Thank you for that. What about State Fairgrounds and Ford's, use of the train station? I'm hearing lots of interesting things, but I don't hear that they're talking about, public transit and mobility and those who use them on a regular basis. They're talking about autonomous vehicles and innovative this. I just want to make sure the folks who've been doing this day in and day out are funded, appreciated, and consulted.
Absolutely, and I'll answer that again. Again, this is Larry Smith, Assistant Director of Operations. In regards to what you've stated, communication has vastly improved amongst all city departments as it relates to projects, construction plans, reroutes, different things of that nature. So when these plans are being implemented or being discussed, thankfully members of the DDOT team are a part of this process, as well as little nuances that we're putting in place to kind of gauge the public, which I saw that we put that in the chat as well, which is like our survey. So different things we are doing to kind of gauge the public as to what they're seeing, what your opinions are amongst different processes we're putting in place, service developments, everything like that, that all plays a part with customer feedback. So we are at the table when it involves different things like that, and we will continue to strive to make the public aware and keep you guys abreast of updates that are coming on a proactive basis, not so much after the fact.
And I have noticed, and kudos to the DDOT team, because I remember back in the day, you'd be at a bus stop and didn't know that it was rerouted. There was nothing to tell you, or you'd be on the bus and the driver would be like, oh, something's going on. Should I go east or west, folks? And we'd, as a bus, decide, go west, take the next street west, So you think I'm joking, but that's how it used to be.
Completely understand, but again, that's why we're all here, and hopefully conversations like this, meetings like this, continue to happen and continue to have the impact that it's having now, which is giving you guys that voice to be able to voice your concerns, as well as giving us the opportunity to be transparent with you of some of the internal challenges we have regarding this time and regarding service in general. So thank you again.
You're welcome, and thank you again for all that DDOT employees do day in and day out.
Thank you for your acknowledgement. We're going to move now to Jacqueline Austin. Okay, and you're up.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here this evening. First, I want to thank everyone for allowing me, part of the ADA community, to receive my mitten. I believe I'm the only one to receive it. Doing a little Clint Eastwood here, the good, bad, the ugly. The good thing is I received it. The bad thing is not all of the drivers are aware that I am able to enter and are not properly informed, as well as the community of the ADA community, that they are to ride in the front of the bus and not the back of the bus. Let's see, good, bad, ugly. Okay, good, bad. The ugly thing is the communication part. The communication is still not, in my mind, up to par. And from what I've seen, because the drivers are not aware. I did make several suggestions even several years ago, even still now asking and pleading with you that you communicate this information to the riders through pamphlets, emails, considering the fact that I have to reapply for my bus card. And the information is still not yet clear to the drivers as to where I'm being placed. I have seen masks. I've seen people now wearing masks, getting masks, masks are missing. I can understand that. But since we're in a digital age, I like to rely on receipts. Receipts say to me that if there's, in a court of law, you're innocent until proven guilty, correct? So with that being said, if you have digital reference as to these masks being stolen, I'd like to see it. We'd like to see it. We're supposed to be a team, correct? So in having that, let's work together and put those processes in place. Since we're in this age now, let's do that. Let's utilize it. But if you have my information as an ADA community participant, I'm disabled. It is unfair to me to still board the back of the bus. I may or may not have that time to jot down every video, but I will. I may not have the time to take every bus number, but I will. I will put it on your social media and we'll do it. But the thing is, if it's not being done, if you asking me for my help, help me help you. And we can work together and get this thing on the ground. I'm not worried about an electric car right now. I'm just worried about getting from point A to point B. Those numbers matter to me during COVID. And then you are changing routes. And I'm hearing, this may be rumor from one of your drivers, that you're considering cutting the number 42, which I utilize to get to my doctor's office. I utilize that. So again, I would like for us to stray away from, in my mind, accusing the ADA community and those that utilize the bus service of stealing masks, because if you don't have proof of it, it's hearsay in a court of law. It is hearsay. I just feel like you are accusing me of taking a mask, although I probably have about 25 or 50 of them in my house that I've bought of my own. I don't take where there's an unnecessary need for me to take them. But what I would like to see is you utilize my email to send me information, so to make sure that the ADA community get those gloves, because I'm the only one I feel like in the city of Detroit that has it. But I do appreciate you all getting it out to me. I received it within a week, and it's worked for me, successfully. I just need your help in getting that information to me in a mailer to keep
Okay, Ms. Austin, we're gonna
people aware.
Your time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to give people, you had a few things out there, so I want to give our team some opportunity to respond.
Okay.
So Ms. Austin, I can start it off here. And I was the one that reached out to you after our last meeting regarding the issues that you were having. The first thing I can let you know is that the first thing I would do is apologize on behalf of my operators for not following protocol or following procedure. The second part of that is if a driver is instructing you that they are not aware, that is absolutely inaccurate. And I will be the first one to tell you that because we have blasted the media to the drivers via memo, via sign-off sheets. I also have CAN messages running, which goes across their console to remind them of the yellow mitts and remind them that you are allowed to board at the front, as well as constantly reminding them when they check in. They also are reminded when they swipe in the morning. So for a operator to state that to you, that is absolutely inaccurate, and I do apologize to you for that. What I would like to do is I can reach out to you again. I still have your information on tap. I can reach out to you again to garner some more information as to the routes that you are personally riding. And that way I can kind of backtrack as to the drivers that may consistently drive that route and offer more of a solution for you to make sure that I'm doing my part by following up on this consistently and not just trusting that they would do their responsibility and do their due diligence. So I will be reaching back out to you following this meeting, if that is okay, to garner the necessary information to do an investigation on my part and make sure that we are moving forward with the corrective measures. It sounds as if the first part went smooth, which was getting you getting you that yellow mitt to utilize. Now the second part is following through to make sure that my operators are doing their part. Again, I do apologize for that, and I will be more than happy to reach back out to you to ensure we're doing what's necessary on our part.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Did anybody else have anything to address to Ms. Austin?
Real quick,
This is
Ms.
Josh.
Austin. I'm sorry, Josh.
No, that's fine. Go
Ms.
ahead.
Austin, good afternoon, Ms. Austin. This is Chief Brown, Transit Police. I just want to say thank you for representing ADA, because you're at all the meetings and you're very vocal and articulate, and you get your point across very well. Again, I just want to remind people, we're not accusing you all. We're requesting that you be mindful to only take one and assist us, and remind other people that you know and friends with to only take one. And if you have a problem with mask or anything, please take note of it and let us know. Thank you, and keep up the good work, Ms. Austin.
Well, I just still would like to add to that, that you have video cameras on there. So if you have that footage, please utilize it. It's part of technology right now.
Yeah.
So that will be your answer to where the theft of the masks are going. You have basically answered your own question as to where the masks are going and who's taking them. Because I guess for me, it's just rather, it's an insult to accuse someone of stealing something that is a necessary right and an inalienable American right that we have. But if they're taking it, you have the cameras, get the pictures, get the images, whatever you guys are doing. We're paying into this system now. This is our new normal. So let's get it done, and let's get it done right. And I appreciate you and thank you for your time.
Josh, did you have something to add?
Well, I just wanted to reiterate to everybody that has attended that it's really important that any of these concerns funnel through customer service, because we are documenting them and we're able to pull reports off them. So it's just extremely important that you try to do that, because we don't want you guys hanging out there with concerns and issues without us addressing them as a team.
Thank you. And before we move to our next person, there is a question regarding the yellow mitts. And because we do have compliance on the line, can someone kind of briefly explain the yellow mitts so that everybody understands their purpose?
Yes, I was looking for Don. I think he stepped away for a second. The yellow mitts are what we have for our ADA community. It allows for wherever you are at the bus stop, you'll be able to wave it. So that way you don't have to rush to a stop. You could be wherever you are, whether it's close on the street or close up. And I think Don can explain a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm back.
It's easier.
Yeah, the Yellow Mitt Club it's been around for a long time, and Smart started it about 35 years or so ago. The idea is, if you can't make it to a bus stop, and we know we have challenges in the city because of our sidewalks and curb cuts and all that kind of stuff. So it's an on-demand thing. If you are disabled, in a wheelchair and blind primarily, or don't have the ambulatory capability of getting to a bus stop, then you can go to the route and just raise the mitt, and the drivers are trained to pick you up where you stand. So that's the gist of it. And so we do have, I missed out on the conversation about the mitts to address anything specific here, but if you go on the website, you'll see how you can get that, and that's basically by contacting me through the ADA DDOT at the DetroitMichigan.gov email, and I'll get into contact with you, have a brief conversation, and I can send you out a mitt.
Thank you for that clarification. Hopefully that helps. I'm going to move on to our next question. It's a caller. The last three digits are 493. So I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. You should be able to unmute you.
Hi. Hi, it's Patty Cito. I'm sorry. I did something strange when I signed in. But first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to, everyone. Keep slugging. It's a crazy time, and I'm just always happy when I see a bus, whether I'm going to ride it or not. Second issue, I was just wondering where we are with budget issues for the department. I'm also wondering where we were with long-term planning for DDOT's expansion and to provide enough service. Anyway, those are my questions.
Do we have anybody available to comment?
Cannot speak to the budget, but I will. Hi, everyone. This is Mickey Taylor Hendricks with Scheduling and Service Development. As far as planning, we are, DDOT as a whole department, we're actively working on the early stages of coming up with a comprehensive plan to make sure we have everything we need to do everything from community engagement, the capital projects over the next 5 to 10 years. So we're actively working on that and improving the network as far as changes to the service. That is a huge part of that. So yeah, we're working on it now. We have some of the concepts down, but we will have to take another look due to all of the changes that COVID has presented us. So actively working on it, and you should see something hopefully pretty soon just to speak to the vision that we're working on, because community engagement is a big part. So making sure that the public is able to see and give us their input before we move forward with projects is top of our priority list as we move forward.
So do you have an estimation of when you might be looking for community engagement on that?
On the vision project, I don't. Hoping, Sam, if you're still on the call, can you let us know?
He is added as an attendee, I believe. So we can give one moment, I'll allow him to come on to address that.
Yeah, he's an attendee.
Okay. So the project manager is on the call. He's been leading us in this effort, and he can speak a little more to that, to the timeline.
Hi, everyone. So to answer your question, so we're still in the early phases of the strategic planning and long-term planning effort. Right now, we're focused on getting internal feedback within DDOT so that the organization is aligned. But our plan is that probably in the October timeframe, we will be working with community groups and organizations to get public feedback to make sure that this is an inclusive process as we start to flush out DDOT's long-term plan in the 3 to 5 to 10 year time frame. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like October, and yeah, then my other part of my question was about the budget. So thank you.
Yep, and I can't speak to the budget. I'm not sure if anyone on this call can. I know from the city standpoint that there is so much that's still in the air with regards to COVID, the reimbursement process, as well as what potential federal aid funding may come down the pipeline as politics change. And so I know that that's a really good question. It's a really important one, but I'm not sure that anyone has a good answer for what that looks like right now.
I think that's correct. I don't see anyone saying that they're able to, so that may be something that we just have to address at another time, but it is noted. So thank you for that. And then I just want to remind you too, I know we talked about the vision, but if you do have, especially I know working with different groups, if you have any feedback or input, please don't wait to share that. You can share that on the DDOT Commons email, but you just please be in contact with us. Obviously, we have our customer service survey out right now. So just please take advantage of those ways that we're engaging input at this time as well. I am going to move to our next person. I see Rochella Stewart, so give me one moment, please. Okay, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to know for the proposed site for the DDOT out at the State Fairgrounds, do they have a location where they're gonna put the DDOT center there? And if so, are they gonna have some way for people to get from one side of the street to the other side of the street without having to go across and get hit by a car?
So the fairground project is in the very, very early stages. There's quite a few people from DDOT as well as other city departments that are involved in that. And I think Larry mentioned this earlier, we are doing a much better job making sure that we are at the table to represent our needs as well as our customers' needs. Crosswalk safety, DPW is involved as well. So all of that will definitely be taken into consideration and hopefully designed with pedestrians in mind. And then as we continue to work through that, we will be able to release a lot more details just on what that location is and what the plans are. But it is.
Would it be closer to where the shops are?
I'm not sure about the specifics yet.
Okay.
I can chime in. So it is still in the early stages. But if you are referring to the announcement from the mayor as well as some of the screen vectors that were shared during the presentation, the site of the actual proposal is closer up towards that Meyer area off of the 8 Mile. So that is closer towards where again, this is still in the early stages, but if you are referring to the proposal that was shown during that conference, it did indicate that the proposed location is on that north side of the location, which is closer towards 8 Mile, just off of where the Meyer currently is. Also to address what you said about accessibility, of course, that is one of the top priorities. Again, not to make light of the situation, but it makes no sense to build a new facility for you all to ride the buses and you don't have the accessibility to get to it. So I know that would be something that would be very high on everybody's alert to kind of make sure that it is fluid, that there's some continuity between how it is designed. But again, it is in the early stages, but we are at the table in regards to how that will be facilitated to make sure that for all parties, it makes sense.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. I am going to move to our next person, which is Mr. Larry. So give me one moment.
Yes, I guess I'm here.
You are.
Hello. Okay. My concern is with DDOT's failure to carry forth on the proposition that people who obviously are ADA or how should I put it, would otherwise have the bus lowered for them under ordinary circumstances, still are unable to get on the front of the bus, yellow glove or no yellow glove. And I also have another point. I was on a bus. This is earlier today, where a woman got on the bus. She had a walker, right? And the driver actually stopped the bus because she got on the back of the bus and moved her and the walker to the front. But the bus was crowded. Okay? Now, I asked the driver about it, and she seemed not to know anything about this person should have got on in front in the first place, but she said it made sense. And she actually asked me not to report it because I'd like to know when drivers do exceptionally well, something good, are they actually penalized? Because I know in the corrections system, sometimes often when guards are nice, they actually get penalized instead of rewarded for their good activity. Now, can somebody address that? Why isn't it, how should I put it, standing operating procedure at this time, so far into COVID, the drivers do not let an elderly person with a cane on in the front, or someone with a walker, or there obviously is a woman that who's obviously past 60, pulling a buggy full of groceries. Why are they still forced to go in the back?
So, Mr. Verse, I can jump in on that. So again, as I indicated, and I know you are a very solution-oriented person, so I'll get right to the solution behind all of this, of what is in place. As I stated earlier for the previous complaint that was along these lines, again, for the drivers to indicate that they are not aware, that is very inaccurate. Based on the amount of contact that we have with the drivers, alerting them, as well as starting next week, we will be starting our enhancement training, in which this piece of ADA training is in the training piece that all drivers have to sign off on. That starts on next week because, of course, based on the complaints that we receive, we see that that is still a standing issue. But they have received the publications, they have received the memos, they received the alerts, they are alerted when they swipe in, and they are also alerted via CAN message that plays every 15 minutes on their console. So for a driver to indicate that they are not aware and that they don't know what the protocol is, that is standard operating procedure, sir. So again, in that instance, even though the driver may say not to report them, I still encourage to do so. That way I can know who it is and rectify the situation and make them aware. Now, I will say this, that even if they were being nice and did something well to assist the elderly rider with the cane to move to the front, that still doesn't negate the fact that they did not allow them to board in the front. So I don't, from my standpoint, from a manager standpoint, that good deed does not cancel out the fact that that good deed would not need to have taken place had they allowed her to board at the front. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying. It is a good deed in which it could be rewarded, but in the same token, had the passenger been board at the front, which is the standard operating procedure, that good deed may not have taken place. So I do believe that there is still room that all drivers in this instance, when issues like that come about, they are disciplined per our investigation once we are made aware.
If I can jump in, Don Lozen from ADA. Mr. Smith and I had plenty of conversation about this issue end of May and 1st of June, because we had several complaints. And I know that he has been very proactive in trying to communicate and educate the drivers, because we have the backdoor entry. ADA, nothing's changed. And if you look at the regs nationally and everything else, nothing's changed about ADA people boarding the front. So, whatever the issue may be, we've got to hear about it so we can rectify that and keep pounding the message that ADA riders need to come to the front, be allowed to come to the front, and all the standards and everything that we had pre-COVID are still the same now. So, we just need to work all these individual issues as they come up. And it's more of an educational kind of thing. I get, there's COVID-19 issues now, and it's different than before, but still consistency. The FTA has come straight out and said, nothing's changed. The U.S. Department of Justice came out and said, nothing has changed. Okay, so if there's stuff going on out there, we need to say that. Likewise, I can just tell you, Mr. Verse, that I'm hoping to start the Secret Rider program the 1st of September again. I got a couple volunteers who'll be riding the buses to make sure that stuff like that isn't happening, and that if they see stuff, they'll report it so we can deal with it. We just need to handle the situations as they come. But the law says nothing's changed, And that's the way we want to work it right now. So we're trying to get it. The good thing is, at one point, I drove Mr. Smith crazy because I'm saying I'm getting all these complaints and people were having issues. And I can now say I'm not getting as many complaints. But we do know that's, I'm not trying to be naive. I do know stuff that is happening out there. So we need to report those things so we can deal with it and make sure that everybody's taken care of according to the law, as what Mr. Fisher said at the very beginning. Everybody's entitled by the Civil Rights Acts of '64 and the ADA Act that there will be no discrimination going on out there.
Okay. I'd like to put a couple of points of clarification, and then I have a request, if you will. The point of clarification is how should I put it? It's not clear that riders know. Some do, some don't. And it's a matter of, as you say, education. But there's a bigger problem also when I speak to people on the bus, when they have this problem, and even after these 2 or 3 years that I've been participating actively, I still run into the same comment. I ain't gonna report that because they ain't gonna do nothing anyway. They never do. I think DDOT needs to do something with its image. I realize that it's trying, that it's making effort, and that it has made progress. But the general image amongst its ridership is crap. I mean, you really need to do something about that so that people will believe when they make a complaint, something will be done.
Well, encourage people, keep making those complaints.
Yeah. Now, I can just go ahead and report everything that I see.
Right.
Please do.
Please do.
That's what we encourage. We can't fix it if we don't know about it, and we can't properly investigate unless they know the details. So you can report it as soon as it happens. I think that's the easier they can get onto it. So please continue to provide those details.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'm sure there's got to be somebody else that has a question or wants to speak.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let someone else speak. Okay. I have Andre. So give me one moment.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for letting me speak. My name is Andre Polo. I'm outreach specialist at Transportation Riders United, otherwise known as TRUE. We are just, I was just listening in to kind of hear where the community and DDOT were at in terms of their correspondence with one another, and kind of hear some of shared stories, shared complaints, and shared action. So it's really good to kind of hear both sides, kind of hear the dialogue between agency and people, and kind of hear what's going on. I don't really have a public comment or I guess a question or a complaint. I guess I just wanted to put out a call to all of the members of this call that Transportation Riders United is looking for rider stories. We're looking for people to either do interviews or write blogs or speak with me to kind of encapsulate your story and your rider experience so that we can include rider voices into our advocacy efforts. So just wanted to take this as an opportunity to, ask anybody that, would like to have their voice amplified, kind of similar to DPP, put your transit experience out there. Please get in contact with me. I'll put my email in the chat. So thank you. I yield my time.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for spreading that. And again, that's another opportunity for our passengers and riders to voice their concerns or comments and positive feedback as well. We have a little extra time if we want to do one more question. First, is there anyone? I don't see any hand raised right now, but if you have not spoken and you would like to ask a question or provide a comment, can you raise your hand now? Again, if you're on the phone, that's *9. So we want to make sure we at least acknowledge everyone who has not had the opportunity to speak. Okay, seeing none, last call for any additional questions. Okay. All right, and Ms. Austin has another one. Okay. So then the hands raised now, we'll go through those and then we'll go ahead and close out for tonight. So again, if you would like to ask a question, just go ahead and raise them now. And this will be our last round for tonight. So I'm gonna go back to Ms. Austin.
Hello, I just wanted to touch on your application process. What is that during COVID for the ADA community individuals that need to reestablish their card? Are you using the card and the MIT, or how does that work for individuals like myself?
Do you use MetroLift at all?
No, I don't use MetroLift. I've had a few bad experiences where I've had doctor's appointments canceled because they're never on time. So what I've had to basically do is just rely on the bus. Fortunately, my doctor's office is close. I can't walk. I mean, I can walk there, but it will take me more time than normal. So I just plan my trip ahead and ride the bus up the street. But yeah, I mean, my insurance through Medicaid, Medicare pays for that service, but I just basically kind of tossed it to the wind for now, and just utilize what's out there so that I don't lose appointments, because after so many cancellations, you get your insurance gets billed, and then there's all kind of craziness with that. So,
are you talking about the reduced fare card?
yes, sir. I still have my reduced fare card. The only thing is, the process right now is not clear, considering the fact that when the event that I would have to reestablish that card, I tried the last meeting we had to show the card. I even showed the driver the card, and I was still not able to get on the bus. Now with the mitten, that really helps me. I appreciate that. But it's still yet unclear for those that are wheelchair bound or whatever the case is, that if they're what the application, are you sending them out so that in the event when my number comes up, I can reestablish my card again? I wanted to know also, in the event, let's say if I lose a glove, but I would never lose it because I keep it in my purse. So when I ride the bus, I have that and my card with me. But let's say I have to reestablish the card, I need to know how would I be able to do that, moving forward.
You just need to call reduced fares, and they're redoing or re-upping those for 60 to 90 days or whatever, or until we get through this pandemic. But I don't have that number readily available to me, but we can get it and get it to you for sure.
So in the meantime, for clarification, she asked, can she continue to, or you asking, can you continue to use the MIT for now?
Well, you don't have to worry about it right now because the fare is free.
We know it's free, right? I think she's worried about boarding the front of the bus, correct?
I see.
Well, just for the fact of a person, okay, they have to I think the pass is good for what, like 4 years, 2 years. So if it's time for me, let's say today, okay, I have to re-sign up for a card. Am I going in to take a picture? I mean, there's no way of knowing, and then not everybody is tech savvy. I was wondering how your communication is going with that, with the ADA community, regarding that, because not everybody is able to get out to the Rosa Parks Center or wherever, you know, it's just
Right.
the communication for a person that's really just homebound. And if they do get out, they get out on a wheelchair. They are not, they don't have that information in the mail. I mean, like I said, we got everything for voting millages. We got everything for everything else. I just want to see the communication bumped up in that area, especially to the ADA community and the riders as a whole, as to what's going on. I think it would be really great. I'll say it again, that you guys push something as a community mailer to, you know, to the city residents as a whole, so that we can know what's going on. Because I'm sorry, we can assume that somebody knows how to use it, but we can't assume it all the time. I mean, you just can't.
I understand what you're saying, and we've had a couple meetings just in the last week trying to fine tune how we want to do this application process and streamline it. There's some legalities with some of it that we need to iron out, but yeah, we want to make this much easier for you guys.
And there's been some discussion about communicating to the community too, because we know that there's a vacuum, and what you're alluding to with the reduced fare card is a good question, and one of the things that we have to address. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for bringing that to attention. It looks like more to come on that. Our last caller or comment from tonight will be Mr. Larry. So let's give him one more opportunity.
Okay, I made it back.
You did.
How should I put it? Kind of a general question. I don't know. Well, I think somebody maybe have some idea, but looking forward in the long term, I'd like to know where exactly, or as close as possible, DDOT stands in like a 5-year, 10-year proposition relative to electric buses.
We hear the question, electric buses, he's asking. 5-10-year plan, is that what you asked?
Let's say in that perspective, looking forward in the future, where does DDOT stand on the position of using electric buses?
I'll answer that one. Okay, Larry. Well, DDOT is in the process of procuring a couple electric buses in the near future. We're going through the process now. We'll probably be introducing 2 electric buses to the fleet, probably around 22. But as you know, that's new technology. It's going to be a huge learning curve for us at DDOT, and we look forward to the challenge, but we are planning to introduce that technology to DDOT.
Elias, did you have anything to add to that? I saw you were.
Yeah, I was just gonna basically say what Larry was saying. We're going to start. We did win grant funding from the Federal Transit Administration, and we will be moving forward with a pilot program. It'll take a few years to plan and implement, and then from that we can reassess and figure out how to move forward and where the industry is going.
Okay. One last question on that issue. I know that a significant implementation of electric buses would cause a significant, what would you call it, increase in infrastructure, if you will. Because if you had a fleet of buses, you'd have to have a place to service them, because they're not going to work at the diesel pump. Yeah. So I understand that. It's a hypothetical, so to speak. Is there a projection, a guess of what might happen if it's decided to move towards electric significantly?
Well, if we move towards electric significantly, we're gonna have to, of course, electric bus don't take gas, so it takes electricity. So part of that program that Elias was speaking on will consist of purchasing chargers to charge the electric buses. So you have to have chargers for those buses. So part of that program is to purchase chargers along with the buses.
Okay. Okay, charges. That'll work.
All right, more to come, more to come.
I'm good to go.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap up for tonight. I do want to give my fellow team members any opportunity for any last words or comments that you would like the public to know. Anybody else have anything to say before we end the meeting?
Yeah, hi, this is Chief Brown again. I just want to have Ms. Austin call the transit public number, leave a contact information and phone number so we can have a one-on-one discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's not anyone else, again, our next meeting is in September. So that's the third Thursday of the month. So we hope to see you then. Continue to reach out to us with your questions and comments in between time. We love to hear from you. Again, if you haven't done our survey yet, please do so or share it with those that you know. And we'll stay on a few minutes for anybody who hasn't caught up with some of the information that was provided in chat, but please stay safe and we look forward to seeing you next month.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Good one, everyone.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.
That's not what I. There's what I hear.
Got it.